Okay, so...
Digital lipstick stains.
And disappearing messages.
You shared a podcast episode with us called Swipe Left on Loyalty.
From Digital Affairs.
Right.
And,
it seems like we're diving headfirst into this
yeah.
love-hate relationship between social media.
And the relationship.
Absolutely. And it's fascinating how technology doesn't just change, like...
How we act.
But, like, how we understand things.
Yeah.
Take cheating, for example.
It used to be very much a physical act,
Yeah.
right? A clandestine meeting.
A hidden love letter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, those same impulses are playing out in the digital world.
And it makes you wonder...
Have we actually redefined infidelity?
Or just found, like, sneakier ways to do it.
It's true.
It feels like the rules of the game have totally changed.
Like, remember sneaking a peek at someone's pager back in the day?
Uh-huh.
Now it's constant stream of potential connections.
Just a swipe away.
Right.
It's almost like social media has amplified.
Those little whispers of temptation we all experience.
And it's not just about opportunity.
But this constant exposure to what everyone else seemingly has.
Oh, yeah.
Think about it.
You're scrolling through Instagram.
And everyone's relationship looks picture perfect.
Right.
Vacations.
Romantic dinner.
Declarations of love.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to start feeling like you're missing out.
Or even worse.
Like your own relationship pales in comparison.
Comparison really is the thief of joy, isn't it?
Right.
And when those feelings of inadequacy creep in...
It's almost too easy to seek validation elsewhere. A flirty DM here.
A late-night emoji exchange there.
It might seem harmless on the surface.
But I can see how quickly those digital interactions...
could blur the lines of emotional fidelity.
Absolutely, and that's where things get really interesting.
And complicated.
Because how do you even begin to define emotional cheating in the digital age?
Right.
Is it a heart eye emoji on an ex's photo?
Is it constantly liking and commenting on someone's posts?
While ignoring your partners.
The lines are so blurry.
Yeah, it's like this whole new gray area has emerged.
And we're all just trying to figure out where the boundaries are.
And that's where these listener stories from the Digital Affairs podcast
get really juicy.
Oh, tell me, you've got some good one.
I am ready for the digital tea.
Let's just say.
Some of these stories sounded like they came straight out of a digital whodunit.
For example,
there is one woman who stumbled upon her boyfriend's secret Snapchat account.
Ooh, a secret Snapchat account.
Okay.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Tell me more. Ooh, a secret Snapchat account. Yeah. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting.
Right.
Tell me more.
So,
this woman thought her relationship was rock solid.
Then bam.
She finds this burner account on her boyfriend's phone.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And he claimed it was just for, like...
goofing off with his buddies.
Uh-huh. But...
the messages she found told a different story.
Mm-hmm.
Think flirty emojis.
Late night chats.
The works.
Ugh, it's like finding a hidden compartment.
In a supposedly empty room, right? You think you know what's going on.
And boom.
Secret digital life exposed.
Exactly.
It makes you wonder...
why go through the trouble of creating...
these separate online personas?
It circles back to that allure of anonymity we were talking about.
Platforms like Snapchat, where messages vanish into the digital ether,
can give people a false sense of security.
Right.
It's like...
whispering secrets in a crowded room.
Believing no one else can hear.
Right.
But the truth is...
those whispers have a way of echoing.
Oh, yeah.
And in the digital world, those echoes can last forever.
So true.
It's a digital ghost town.
Where the evidence might disappear.
But the emotional impact lingers.
Yeah.
Speaking of digital breadcrumbs.
The podcast also featured a story about a wife.
who caught her husband accidentally liking
an old Flames bikini picture on Instagram.
Oh, the classic accidental, like...
the digital equivalent of tripping and falling into someone's DMs.
Right.
But here's the thing.
Social media has a way of bringing the past and all those what-if scenarios
crashing together.
Yeah.
It's one thing to know your partner has a history.
It's another to see them engaging with it online.
Even if it seems unintentional.
And let's be real.
Is an accidental like ever truly an accident?
Right.
I mean, what are the chances?
That speaks to a larger issue.
Of how social media can trigger feelings of insecurity.
And breeds suspicion in relationships.
Absolutely.
And those seemingly small actions.
Like a stray, or a lingering glance at a notification.
Right.
Can become major relationship landmines.
The podcast hosts called this micro-cheating.
Those subtle digital acts that might not be full-blown infidelity.
But can still chip away at trust.
It's like death by 1,000 digital paper cuts, isn't it?
Right.
But where do you even draw the line?
I mean, is it an overreaction to bring up?
A slightly flirty comment you saw your partner make on a friend's post
Or is it better to address these things early on?
before they snowball into something bigger.
That's the million-dollar question.
And unfortunately, there's no easy answer.
Right.
Every relationship is different.
And what might feel like a betrayal to one person,
Could be a non-issue for another.
the key is open and honest communication.
Couples need to define their own boundaries.
And have those sometimes uncomfortable conversations
Right.
about what constitutes acceptable online behavior.
You're preaching the gospel truth.
But it's not just about setting boundaries with your partner.
It's also about being accountable for your own digital actions.
Precisely.
We're all guilty of getting caught up in the moment.
But in this age of screenshots and social media detectives, it's crucial to be mindful of the digital footprints we leave behind.
A seemingly harmless joke or flirty comment.
Can easily be misconstrued,
Oh, yeah.
especially when taken out of context.
It's like that old saying.
Dance like nobody's watching email, like it may one day be read aloud in a deposition.
Exactly.
But it's not all doom and gloom, right?
We've talked about the dark side of social media,
Right.
but the podcast also highlighted some positive examples.
Of how couples use it to strengthen their relationships.
Okay, give me some hope here.
Tell me about the couples who are using social media for good instead of evil. Okay, give me some hope here. Tell me about the couples who are using social media for good instead of evil.
One story that stood out was about a couple who used social media to stay connected while they were navigating a long-distance relationship.
They started a tradition of sending each other funny memes throughout the day,
Oh.
which helped them feel close even when they were miles apart.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Injecting a little humor and playfulness into the relationship.
Right.
It's like sending a virtual love note just with a side of memes instead of sonnets.
Exactly. It's a reminder that social media can be a tool for connection and intimacy.
Another couple on the podcast mentioned using social media to explore shared interests.
Oh!
They followed accounts dedicated to their hobbies
Shared interesting articles with each other.
and even used it to discover new activities they could try together.
That's so smart. It's like using social media to create a shared digital world.
Right.
Instead of letting it become a source of secrecy and suspicion, they're actually using it to bond over their passions and expand their horizons as a couple.
And that's the crux of it, isn't it?
Social media, like any tool, can be used for good or bad. It all comes down to intentionality and communication.
Right.
Are you using it to connect with your partner?
Or to escape from your relationship.
Are you using it to build each other up?
Or to tear each other down.
So what are our takeaways then? What's the TLDR on navigating relationships in this wild west of social media?
I think the biggest takeaway is that social media hasn't fundamentally changed why we cheat or why we crave connection.
It's just changed the playing field. The
Oh.
same insecurities, temptations, and desires that existed before are now amplified in the digital space.
Yeah, it's like social media is a giant magnifying glass held up to our relationships, both the good and the bad.
Exactly.
So it's more important than ever to be mindful of our online behavior.
And to make a conscious effort to use social media in a way that strengthens our relationships.
Not sabotages them.
Easier said than done right.
Right.
But honestly, having these conversations, even if they're a little awkward, is a great starting point.
It's about being on the same page with your partner.
Setting boundaries
Mhm.
and remembering that a little digital detox every now and then never hurt anyone.
And on that note, maybe it's time for us to log off and have a real-life conversation with someone we love.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the digital side of love and relationships.